Big round of applause for Praveen sir, please. So, to begin with our first question.
Yes.
So, what inspired you to step into Kannada film production alongside demanding engineering career?
So to become a film producer, it was more of an opportunistic situation where I could take advantage of. I became a successful personality in the aviation industry. I made a good sum of money and I was looking for an investment in terms of like a property or something in that manner. And I came across this project that was stuck because of funding and they gave me a very good deal where I would get the entire profits, buy out the current production unit. And I did that and it was a gamble, but that gamble is what took me to the next 8 movies. So that's how I got into the Kannada film industry.
So, you did choose passion over just career.
I chose money.
Thank you, sir. That was a really good response. So, managing lead successful film projects is impressive. What defines success for you in cinema?
Success in cinema is not about how much you earn, it's not about how many days the movie runs. It's more of how you can bring an art towards an audience. Even if I impact 1,000 people out of 1 lakh people who've seen the movie, that is my win. So for a production unit or for a film to be successful, you bring a change in the audience because the commercials of it will always change. You will have one movie that gives you a very big hit, you'll have one movie that doesn't give you any money. But at the end of the day, is you keep the audience engaged, you show them something that they haven't seen. And I believe being creative and giving a socially responsible movies is more important, and that is what I believe is success, being socially responsible.
Thank you, sir. And sir, looking deep into your point, Kannada cinema is experiencing a shift from like more massy cinemas to more content-oriented cinemas. So, do you think in future that will bring up more opportunities for the new upcoming directors?
Yes. If you've seen in the previous trends, there was one director who will be producing with all the top stars, directing with all the top stars, and the associate directors would come forward as the next lead. Now you have people who's finished engineering and their first movie is with the top star. It's about what vision you have and how you portray it. Yes, they have done their homework. They have made a proper storyboard. They've made a proper, what you could say, the registration of the script, idealizing the characters of the script. All of these things have been done properly. So the opportunities are opening up because the rudimentary method is no longer followed. And there are a lot of acting schools that are coming up, and there are a lot of modeling agencies that are coming up that can give you these opportunities to be at least side characters or side directors, associate directors, or similar terms to get an experience of it. Before it was very difficult. Now it's become more accessible, and with technology being in play, where you can do a movie with just your phone for Instagram, a small skit. Those things trend and those people do get opportunities that takes them to the next step. So yes, it's more open up atmosphere right now. And you don't need to come with a legacy to enter into this industry. You can make your legacy.
Thank you for that answer, sir. So, what key lessons from filmmaking have helped you in corporate leadership?
What key could you repeat the question, please?
What key components of your cinema, like the methods, have
Yes,
helped
yes.
you in corporate leadership? Like corporate leadership, it has helped you.
Honestly speaking, in cinema and what you're trying to correlate to are two opposite directions, because when I get into a movie production, I am very particular about certain aspects. I will not interfere with the director's requirements. I will always be particular that he leads the ship, I'm just funding it. I will only interfere when I feel what I'm funding for is not being taken forward. So I take a laid back leadership when it comes to my production.
Like, as they both are completely different domains,
Yeah.
like were you able to bridge any gaps or like were like
Yeah,
some tactics helpful from the other side?
Yeah, certain things that I did bring into especially under my banner, we have everything in a written format. So everything is planned well in advance. In our pre-production, we would have our storyboard set, we would have the location set, we'll have the date set. It follows that specific order so that when we finish, we try to optimize maximum money saving without the need for a reshoot. In case we have to reshoot, it will collide with one of the other days where we could reshoot the same scene again. So I brought in a little form of structure into it through leadership. Yes, I have done that. But majority of the way, I do not interfere into the creatives of the cinema.
Thank you, sir. So what key matrices do you look for before deciding to invest? Some key components, at least.
In terms of, I'll bridge this into two different businesses or three. If it is aviation, the first thing that I would do if I'm investing into any R&D or any project is identifying who's my customer. Why am I doing this project? It's not just the monetary gains that I get from it. What are the other future possibilities that will come from this project? What are the difficulties that I'll have to challenge? So one thing in aviation, I have struggled my way to the top. It was not an easy, small challenge. It was a very difficult step-by-step, calculated steps that took me to the top. Few failures, but majority of them took me to the top. So I started off, for example, I'll just take a bit of your time. My first aviation component was a fastener. So it's basically like your nuts and all of these things. So when I made this for the government the first time, they gave me 6 months to give a single nut after they gave the existing nut that they were not getting supply for. I took it to them in 6 days. They thought I was coming back to give it, saying I'm not able to do this, find someone else. No, I said, this is mine. And from my pocket, I pulled out another 50 pieces and I kept it on the table. So when I took this first step, my current team at that point was like, don't take it. Do not take such a drastic measure. We do not want to get into components. It's too much of a difficulty to get the approval. It's going to be very difficult to mass produce. We'll have to expand in a very high capacity. I said, it's okay, let's take the risk. That one step is what today helped me make heat exchangers, sensors, main rotor blades. So that small goal of what I could do with this perspective in the future propelled me in the aviation industry. For example, in startups and investments, I want to see what is the nature of the product. So if you're going to give a service or a product, it should be a necessity, not a need. So if I believe your service or product is a necessity which you cannot live without it, I will invest. In the film industry, I purely look into, will this project run or will this project create an impact? One of the two. Either it should be a movie that will impact the audience socially or it will give me monetary gains. So 3 different ways to look at that question.
That was really inspiring, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, so how do you assess whether a startup idea is stable or not?
I assess first the product or the service, then I assess the person who's bringing it. So most of the times what happens is people come to me with a very good product, but they don't know how to take it to the next step. But when I tell them we can take it to the next step, I don't give them the next step on its way. I say, how much share do I get if I fund this? And if I fund this, how much do you expect? So what each investor sees is what you are willing to give to the investor. And if someone is greedy and they say, no, you can have 15% and you put XYZ amount and no further opportunities of getting more optional shares, that's the kind of person that I would stay away from. Rather, I would see someone who's technically sound. Even if our product does not move after 6 years, how to innovate the same product to the next stage. So do they have the capacity to keep growing or is it a one-trick pony? So identifying that took me some time because I invested in a lot of startups that was a one-trick pony which worked for 2 years, like cafes and these coffee startups, and it ran for 2 years and then it just fell apart. But I made my money back in return, some I didn't. But at the end of the day, it's about understanding what is their future goals. So if they have only one product in line and this is what they're banking on, I would take a step back. Unless I feel it's really innovative and this will lead for the next 20 years, then I won't take a step forward. I take a step back. So what they bring for the future is what their investment asks for.
So your parameters are completely based on experience, personal experience.
Yes, because I have invested in few startups. For example, I invested in a coffee startup. It was first of its kind where you could grind your own coffee in person and you would make your own coffee and the whole experience would teach you about how coffee making, it's not just go to a vending machine and get your coffee. The first year it blew up in social media. I'm not taking names because if that company comes back, I don't want to give it a bad rep. So it blew up, it ran well for a year, and 3 months down the line, it started to drop. 7 months down the line, they made surreal losses, and by the end of the year, we had to shut down because it logically didn't make sense to reboot this. Rather, you need to repackage this. So I believe that most startups, they have a good vision, they don't have a good structure, they don't foresee one important thing, that is what is the future requirement. How will you sustain this in the future run? So I will see that particularly, future growth, not just your initial entry into the market. Your future boom, what do you expect from that? And if they don't have an answer for that, I will ask questions to bring answers for that. But other than that, for me, it's more about what they see in the future of the company.
Thank you, sir. So what was your first leadership role in Toastmasters? If I'm moving to the Toastmasters domain now.
My first leadership role in Toastmasters was, technically I was a division director, but I wasn't a division director. I was running it at the back end of the Toastmasters just to make it run. And when I had joined Toastmasters, it was very small, 20, 30 clubs. It just started when I joined, like 20, 30 clubs. It was not stabilized. So when I joined and I took up leadership responsibility, I did it without credit. My first leadership responsibility came in 23 after like 12 years of working without credit. I was blackmailed into becoming a division director. My mentor, or the ones who reached to the top of Toastmasters chain, had told me, you worked for this district without any credit. It's time you got your credit. So I joined through a blackmail. I continued to work that entire term dedicatedly through a blackmail and became Toastmaster of the Year because of that blackmail. So I was glad I was blackmailed.
Sir, a personal question from my end.
Yes.
I am your Toastmaster mentee, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sir, like how much do you enjoy the process of being a mentor?
Honestly speaking, I have mentored over, in the Toastmasters domain, I have mentored over 400 people over this last 5 years alone. And one thing that I've learned as a mentor is, it's not about how much you teach, it's about how much you learn to listen. So when you are giving me your speech, I would listen to what your idea is. I will let you explore what you have to explore, and then I will make you change what you have to change. I could have initially said, no, this is wrong, Charan. Don't do this. Do this instead. This is the right way to take about your speech. Don't focus on fictional stories. Focus about yourself. I want you to bring yourself out on stage. If I directly told you that, you wouldn't learn. But if I let you experiment, I let you try things on your own, and then I give you suggestions of how you could make it better, you would have an experience where this will tell you in the future, okay, I can do this as well. This is what I learned. But rather than, this is not what I was demanded to do. So I will never demand you to do something. I would suggest you to do something, and those changes will subtly modify the way you look at things. So all about what I learned from mentoring over the years is learning to listen.
And this is actually one thing that I did learn from you, sir, because whenever you did mentor me, you never imposed your ideas or suggestions on me. You tried to improve my section. So like I was learning something, that how could I get better instead of being a replica of another speech. So I really ought to thank you out for that, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome. And you don't need to thank me for that. It was my duty as your mentor.
Thank you, sir. So, what role does leadership and culture play in scaling a startup? Like we're moving around the
Yeah,
domains here. Sir.
yeah. So there's no issues. So what culture and leadership? See, first of all, you need to identify what type of a leader you are. Okay, just because you're the president of the company or the CEO or the CEO of the company, it doesn't define your company's growth. You need to identify what type of a leader you are. You need to identify what type of leadership your team can work under, and that defines the culture. For example, if I'm an administrative leader and my team is a colloquial or a communication based leadership where they are vocal about what they want, but if I demand saying this is what I want, it will not work. I'll have to identify what my team needs, what type of leadership I need to impose at that time. I believe in leadership, you need to have trick of all trades. You need to be lenient when you need to be lenient. You need to be strict when you need to be strict. You need to be innovative when you have to be innovative. And when you have to get your team to work under this, when you mix all these leadership styles is what forms the culture. So in certain companies, they say it's a very strict atmosphere. It's because the team there needs a strict atmosphere. And if that culture has to change, the team also has to change, not just the leadership.
So, sir, it's safe to assume that you're a leader according to the person, according to the team?
Yeah, I'm leader according to the situation. As long as the team creates the situation. So what situation I'm dealt with, I will deal it according to the situation because the situation is created by the team. So yeah, based on the individual, my leadership skills will change.
Yes, sir. So, what real life leadership lesson did you learn from Toastmasters, if I may ask?
Pretty much everything. It's a simple answer, pretty much everything. Because in Toastmasters is the one platform where it is safe to fail. You go to any other platform or you even take it to your work life, you make a very big mistake with an event, it is going to give you a black mark on your name. And to erase that black mark, it will take a couple of years, couple of more sessions. And guess what? Whatever opportunities that were supposed to come to you after a specific meeting or event or customer client coordination will not come through because you failed at that situation. But in Toastmasters, the only platform where if you fail in your meeting, it's a stepping stone when you go into the next one, not to repeat the same mistakes you did last time. So the consequences of failure in Toastmasters is close to none. But when it comes to real life, it could be at home, it could be at office, it could be at your business client meeting, B2B. A failure is not always taken as a failure. It's a door that gets blocked for your future. So I believe in Toastmasters, you are allowed to fail. You're allowed to learn from those mistakes. So when you get into the real world, you have very less mistakes or very less things that people will pick at you when you do screw up something.
Sir, another query about leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership does have its own perks, but when it comes to the pressures and the responsibilities the leader has to do abide from, what are your suggestions for the new upcoming leaders?
When you become a leader, you need to learn the word sacrifice and you need to religiously follow it. Being a leader is a lot of sacrifice. Being an entrepreneur is a lot of sacrifice because you do not have a fixed work schedule. You do not have a fixed time to allocate for yourself. So the pressure of paying your salaries, the pressure of getting your clients satisfied, the pressure of making these projects complete on time is a very difficult task. So being a leader, the perks is you get a lot of monetary gains, you get a lot of authority, you get a lot of respect and all of these things. But the pressure side of it is very difficult to handle. My suggestion is take step-by-step actions towards your project. Plan your project before you take it up. Do a SWOT analysis of what are the things that could go right, what are the things could go wrong. Focus on the wrong things. Try to make sure when it happens, you are prepared. So, as a leader, I would suggest that.
Thank you, sir. So diving into one of your like many expertise, your aviation achievements are not like unseen. So sir, what recent aviation innovation excites you the most and why?
I have so many NDAs signed. I need to be very careful about how I speak because all of these projects that I work is for the defense. So I do not, my 99% I do not do any private work. So my concurrence with DGCA is very less, but my concurrence with Semilac, Air Force, Navy, DRDO, ISRO, HAL, it goes to the highest mark. So one of the few things that I have taken up as a challenge for this year is I'm working with a Russian fleet of helicopters right now. I am developing sensors for them that will help the pilot work more efficiently. So I'm redeveloping some sensors inside the systems for a specific set of helicopters. And one that is not a big NDA clearance is I'm making something for the main rotor blade of Me-17 helicopters. So that's not a non-critical. I could talk about it. So it's
Pleased
not
to
an
hear
issue.
about
So
that.
that's a challenge because there is no stock coming from Russia. So the Indian Air Force had brought this project up, and I took it up as a challenge. And right now, it's in its testing phases. It's cleared its R&D. It's in its testing phases. So maybe 6-7 months down the line, the Russian fleets will have Indian-made main rotor blades. So
We wish the same, sir.
see, whenever someone says aviation, the first thing that the general public or the general population goes into is how to make an aircraft fly. What is aileron? What is avionics? What is yaw? What is lean? What is high altitude, low altitude? If you are entering into the aviation industry for production and components manufacturing, it first breaks down into two different things. Is it critical or non-critical? Then is it under which subsystem? So when you're entering into such an industry, start off with non-critical components, start small, make mistakes because getting these approvals are very difficult because approvals don't come for your company, they come for your product. And these approvals come with a lot of intrinsic testing, lot of design, documentation, lot of protocols that you have to follow in terms of manuals and all of these. So when you start with a smaller project where when you make certain mistakes, it helps you with the bigger projects. So my advice to anyone who's entering the aviation industry, especially into the production side of it, learn to start off small with smaller projects, gain the experience for the smaller projects and then take on bigger projects. Smaller projects give you smaller revenue, but it gives you experience. This experience will help you tackle bigger projects. So my advice to them would be start small and take a step-by-step growth because if you take a big project at the start, there are so many nuances when it comes to clearances. And even if you don't meet up to one of the expectations, you won't get the clearance. You'll have to go back into R&D design again and re-qualification. So it's a very difficult task. So I would suggest start small, take slower steps, and you will reach to the top in 7-8 years. Don't expect growth in 2 years.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insights. And sir, like moving on to like AI is the new trend. So, like, what role will artificial intelligence and automation play in the future of a pilot training and like flight safety?
Technically speaking, automation has already come into your aviation industry. AI is helping it make it more quicker or make the process more soundproof. But the problem with AI coming into the aviation industry is there is always a panel where the code can give you an error. Whereas a product comes with a fixed set of errors, and these fixed set of errors can be manually reset. But when you're in flight, when you're running with AI and all of these type of technologies, it is something that is under the process of taking over. But at the moment, automation has already come in. It's kind of old technology what you're talking about. In aviation, automation has already come in. Where AI is going to be part of will take some time for us to go there because the code has to be soundproof. And AI is taking other job fronts that is making it quicker. For example, your help support at airports, AI is being used there. AI is also being used in your billing sector about how to get more ticket generation and all of these things. AI is being used there. So in that front, it is being used. In the aviation front, in terms of your development side, it is being used. But on the aircraft, it is yet to implement to that stage. Automation is already there. Automation is already there. It works through magnetic flux of multiple sensors. Automation is already in process.
Thank you, sir. May I request the audience to please maintain silence? Thank you. Sir, moving on, like now from a student's perspective, how can students discover the right career path when they are interested in multiple domains? I feel this is the most appropriate question to be asking you, sir, because you're into multiple domains.
Wrong person to ask this question, because I'm going to give an advice that most faculty will not agree to. Sorry, ma'am, sorry, teachers, sirs, whoever is here, I am really sorry about that. You will never know if you don't try. So try whatever you want. You will fail in multiple. You will finally succeed in one, and that will propel you into multiple different opportunities. My first goal in life was to be a national level boxer. I failed when I had a massive injury and I quit that field completely. I entered into aviation, which is a completely different domain for me. I found aviation fun. I found filmmaking fun. And then when I had a lot of money, I decided, okay, why not start up other businesses? I joined into that. But it all started with a failure when I failed in boxing. So failures will make you successful, but if you give up after your first failure, you're going to fail. But the safest route everyone is going to tell you is go find a job, get into a safe spot. Even I would suggest the same. But if you're a loose cannon like myself, take the risk, but the rewards come late. Your rewards don't come early. Never go into an aspect of life where you think, I'll join this, I'll become successful, I'll buy my house, I'll buy my car with this business. It all happens after 7 to 8 years of hustle, and you will meet a lot of hardships on the way. You need to be mentally strong. So my advice is be mentally strong. Take every opportunity you get. It doesn't matter if you fail. Be greedy for opportunities. Grab everything that you get.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in this competitive world, what are the most critical skills students should start developing today to stay relevant in the future job market?
You should learn how to communicate. See, I've seen I've gone to multiple companies for training sessions. I've dealt with multiple scientists. I've dealt with multiple stars. And the one thing that I've always realized is those who have intellectual talent and knows how to show it always succeed. So if you have a skill and you know how to show it off to your customer or your client or your business partner, only those people succeed. So what I always preach to every student that I meet is learn to develop your communication skills, because when future technology changes, a lot of things changes, your communication is something that AI cannot take over. No matter how it falls on a code, and the way people perceive trends, it will keep changing. So the one thing that will never change is communication. So you always need to up your game with communication. So you need to be, if you want to succeed in life, you need to learn how to, they have this saying, the crying baby gets fed. That's pretty much it. You should learn how to communicate and you should be vocal about it. So communication is key.
Thank you, sir. Sir, what common mistakes do you think students make while planning their careers, and how can they avoid them?
First of all, planning your career is, you need to see, one thing I'll be very honest with the current, no offense to anyone here, even in my face the same thing happened. You have really high expectations. Like, I will get this salaried job, or I will open this much, I'll make this much revenue profit in my business. I will get the keys to my dad's business. they come with this very high expectations like life is easy, and they plan all their goals based on that. Moving every step forward is I will get this many projects by this term end, I will complete these projects by this term end. And they plan it in a very good way, but they don't understand is you have a very high expectation which isn't realistic. And for you to reach that realistic expectation, you need to have that kind of experience. So always keep plan A, plan B, plan C. Plan A would be your real expectation. Plan B would be the expectation that is achievable. Plan C would be your unrealistic expectation that you're building your life on. So if plan C fails, jump to plan B. If plan B fails, then jump to plan A, because that's when you'll never give up and you would be going in the real mode. So keep real expectations, realistic expectations. Learn to acknowledge failure, and only when you really understand that these are the places that I'm going to fail at, or these are the places where I'm going to find threats, how I would turn those threats to my advantage, or push them under a rag and it does not come up, blow up in my face in the future. Any one of the two. But these are the things that students need to look forward before they choose their career. Because just because you're good at something, maybe when you enter the field, you might not like it. And it will not propel you forward because it's not what you look at. So always understand, keep your mind open to multiple opportunities and take every opportunity that you get. Have realistic expectations.
Thank you, sir. And one last question. So how do you feel about a few words about Mestori and Acharya Institute, let's incorporating it into this curriculum?
It's a nice opportunity to be here, really honest, to interact with students. And to Acharya, I'm not new. You know that. I've been here for almost the last 1 year regularly, starting Toastmasters, training students. One thing I've learned from Acharya here is you have a very open culture where you're ready to learn, and multiple opportunities for the students to get inspired. When I was a student, I had equal opportunities, but when I came here, I realized there's tenfold more opportunities in Acharya. So that is something that was very inspiring. Kudos to the university, because giving so many opportunities to the students is a very big thing. Taking time, planning it out, and getting all of that done. And as I'm interacting with students, I realize one thing is, even though I'm not that old, my thought process is getting old, and the way you guys are running so quickly is kind of pushing me also to, like, you know what, the fire is getting reignited to, like, I think I have it in me to start another venture. And that is why I am starting another venture here in Acharya.
We wish you all the best, sir.
Thank
I really have to say that you're a very inspiring person. No, not just knowing you personally, but looking the way you work, your profession, your dedication, and everything. Like, it's really inspiring, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.